What's going on, everybody? Joe at the Big Sky Model Workshop, hanging out here on a Monday evening. My buddy Jason Klein had a really good community question he posted Saturday in his video. If you guys haven't seen his video, I will tag his channel, KRD, Klein Race Car Design. Jason was wondering, what are you guys doing for storage to help keep things organized and make room for growth? And that's a great question. And so I've got a handful of things that I use to help keep things organized, help me keep everything together, that you could use portably, some of, and others just ideas that maybe you can use when you build a workspace or modify a workspace or set one up for the first time. So the first thing that I use a lot of for spare parts and other materials, and you can use these to store paint or whatever you want to do, I buy these. These Sterlite, these are a plastic shoebox, and I buy these at Family Dollar for $2 a piece. And I have like 9 of them, and I will probably grab another few because I use them for so many things. This one's full of microfiber towels just to keep the dust and lint off of them. I have one that's full of overflow for rattle cans, and I have another one that's overflow for scale finish, the stuff that doesn't fit my paint racks. Up above you here, I've got them up on my upper shelf there, and they're full. I have one that's full of nothing but decals and bare metal foil. I have one that's just for resin parts. I have one that is just for aftermarket tire and wheel sets like Aoshima, AMT, and the like. I have one that's full of just building supplies, craft wire, screen door material, which is what I make windshield screens for dirt track cars out of, fabric for seat covers, felt, various materials like that. And the others are just spare parts. Every time I finish a kit, I keep all the spare parts. I have a tire and wheel only one. I have an engine only one. And then I just have miscellaneous stuff from the other ones. And then I have one that's full of trailers because between the Nova and 60 F100 kits, I got trailers. So you can use them to organize all of your spare parts stash because you will inevitably have one. Unless you throw all of your parts away, you continue to buy kits, you're going to have spare parts because you're going to buy 2-in-1s, 3-in-1s. And even if they're not advertised as such, they're often going to have extra parts in them. And you just never know when those are going to come in handy. On a build, you make a mistake and break a part. Well, now I got an extra. Or I need to make a pivot and change all 4 wheels because I broke one. Cool, you've got an extra set of wheels. Swapping with buddies, helping a friend out that's like, hey, does anybody have this part? Anything like that. These are super handy. So I have a bunch of these scattered around, and I also have some other larger totes, and they are for my overflow bigger items that I just use once in a great while, but I don't want to get rid of them. I just keep them tucked away. It's also where I store magazines and books because I love having research material for certain things. I have a big pile of hot rod and carcraft magazines from the 80s and 90s. I have a book of firing orders from 1970 on up. I have an encyclopedia of automobiles. I've got reference materials galore, so I keep those in totes. It keeps mice out of them, keeps bugs out of them, keeps them dry, and I can get to them as I need them. The next one that I carry right behind me here, you can see this is where I stash. There it goes. There you go. 3D parts right here. So I have pegboard hanging up here, and I could add a bunch more pegboard for other things, but I just have this small one against the wall. And so when you buy 3D printed tires and wheels and 3D printed engines, those are 2 things that eat up a ton of space in a parts box. So I hang them. Oftentimes they will come in a baggie that already has a hole, or you can punch a hole in them and you just hang them up on the pegs. 1, they're clear and it gives you more room for your small part storage, and 2, they're not out of sight. So when you're building something, you can be like, oh, I thought I got an engine for that. Ah, there it is. Or tires and wheels. There they are. And then they're easy to see, to get your mind going to thinking, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to work on. So that's what that rack is for. I also hang all of my evergreen styrene, my K&S tubing. That stuff hangs on that rack as well, so I can get right at it. I use a lot of tubing when it comes to roll cage stuff. Mounting aftermarket tires and wheels, you're going to use some tubing for that. Making drive shafts when you're making tires, or making engines from other kits or 3D engines fit, you're going to be modifying drive shafts, stuff like that. The rest of the parts go in these little cases right here. So these come from Harbor Freight. This is a 20 piece. They make larger and smaller ones of these. These particular ones are my favorite because they have different size bins. When these are on sale, these are about $7. I have 4 of them now, and I have enough room to stack 2 more above it, and I will. I have them organized by various things. I have just interior, just engine. I have just ProTech stuff. I have just plug wire or distributors, ignitions, just carburetors. You can organize them any way you want to. But those are super handy. They've got different size bins, so depending on the size of parts you need, you can spread those out, and then they're stackable. You could use those also for storing your hobby supplies. You could probably put brushes, knives, paints, glues in one of those to carry around with you somewhere, or the larger one would work really well for that. But there's another item that frees up a lot of space on my bench. As you can see, it doesn't take a lot of room. I can put 2 more up there, and I'm not really having a problem there. The next couple items here, I'm going to move the camera here real quick. So, paint. Options for storing paint. And I did this in a What Did You Buy Wednesday, not that long ago. These are nail polish racks. And you can buy these for $10 to $14 a piece, whether you go on eBay, Amazon, wherever you go. Super handy for your bottles of paint. And now with Scale Finishes doing these narrow bottles for the 2 ounce, they take up less space. But I can see what I have for paint. And honestly, if you needed to, you could pick this rack up and just carry it with you if you had to move it from place to place. You could pick it up, put it in a tote, and take it with you if you were traveling to go build. But that's another option for storing things. Bought these at Harbor Freight. You can find these also at Fleet Farm, Tractor Supply, or whatever, these stackable bins for little small things like that. All these little small storage things that would use in any other shop, they will work just fine here. But don't overlook things at the dollar store like kitchen storage, bathroom storage, clothing storage, shop supply, your workbench stuff. Go to your local farm and fleet store, stuff like that. Nut and bolt containers, things like that. There's so many great options for things like that. This one was going to be my last one, but I'll throw it in since it's here. Shelving. Whenever you're building your new workspace or whatever, don't be shy about adding shelves. Put them everywhere. You'll need more. I built more shelves than I realized as I went, and I made sure I had room to do even more. I can put another shelf above this if I need to, and on the opposite side of the window, I could do the same thing. That's where all my rattle cans live, up there, out of the way. That way you've always got room, whether you're adding more kits. You can always, if your workspace is set up to add more shelves, do it. I'm shelf brackets, OSB, super cheap. Don't have shelf brackets? You can literally, I'll turn this here so you guys can see behind me here. That is 2x2s against the wall and down, and OSB. Shelving. You can never have too much shelving. So I'm going to move the camera here. Hopefully I don't make you guys sick. I want to show you my last 2 things that I use for organization of things. This little art caddy right here. This is where my hobby knives, my markers, my pens, my paint brushes, everything goes. This was $2 at Family Dollar. These are for art supplies. You could pick this thing up and carry it with you from room to room. You could put it in a tote if you had to, a tall tote, and have it out of your way. But everything is there as you need it for, like I said, Sharpies, tweezers, sprue cutters, knives, paint brushes, clamps, scissors, ruler. It's all there. Super easy storage. And these right here are super valuable. You can store your airbrushes in them. You can store hobby blades, extra tools, tape. Mine's kind of overflowing right now. I got clamps hanging off, but I got blades and I got weathering materials. I got drill bits. I've got a square. I've got a lint brush. I've got all kinds of stuff in these. When these are on sale, these are like $17 at Harbor Freight. If you go check Lowe's and other places, sometimes they're even cheaper than that. You can close it, carry it around with you, and have all of your supplies that you need in there, all your urgent supplies. So those are ways to store. And then I have another one of those nail polish racks. And big shout out to old school modeler Nick. he suggested you flip one of these shelves upside down and your square bottles fit on top. It's not gonna travel well, but I've got a bunch of room cleared up. I can see all the paints that I have right here. Everything's right there in front of me in an easy reach, and I frees up more workbench space. I have all of my tools and supplies between this overhead shelf, which I hung my paper towel dispenser off of. All those things are up out of the room, out of the way. I have enough room on this bench that I can put 2 builds out at any time. This is only 7.5 feet wide bench, maybe 8 feet if I'm being generous. And I can lay out 2 full builds, plus I have the room for all my tools and supplies because everything is compact but easy to access. And that's the important thing, but there's room to grow. If I need to add more, I can put another shelf right here. I could put another shelf right there. Above me, I have the kits that are in line to be worked on. This is so that I know what I'm working on next. Everything's organized. What I'm currently working on is right above me. Whether it's just started or I've walked away from it or it's coming up in the next few weeks, it's the next build in line right above me on this shelf. And I have enough room to put another one above me for more kit storage if I needed to. Plus, I have a bunch of those shoe boxes. And by organizing my parts into each of those shoe boxes, I know when I'm working on something, ooh, I need my NASCAR box. Oh, let's find some tires and wheels. Oh, the engine is in here. That kind of, everything's organized. Everything has a container or a place. So those are the things that I have. If you're building a new shop space, whatever you currently have in your stash, just plan that that stash is going to double, and you'll build yourself enough room to cover everything. Don't worry if you don't fill all those shelves up now, because trust me, you will. I didn't think I would fill up my kit shelves. I now need to build another shelf, which is fine because I made the room to do it. I made room to go. I can go floor to ceiling if I have to. But by doing that, I'm keeping everything open in the middle, and I have room to do what I need to do. I am not going to be printing 3D parts for a multitude of reasons, and that's one of the pluses now. I have all the storage stuff. It's out of the way. I did not build in room for a printer and everything that I needed on purpose. One, so that I wouldn't be tempted, and two, I maximized everything that I had. There are plenty of people who are printing parts in the aftermarket and friends of mine that I'm sure I could pay or bribe or trade to print something for me if I bought a file for them to do, that I just would rather put those resources to materials and kits and to helping those supporters, those vendors out myself that way. I don't mind. I'm going to rotate the camera a little bit here. So you guys see the pegboard right behind me there, and there's room for more pegboard right here. And thirdly, the way that I'm wired as far as hobby stuff, I would jump in with both feet, elbows probably to my neck, and all I'd be doing is printing, and I wouldn't get anything done. I've already bought way, way more than I'll ever build. I just need to shut up and build stuff, quit buying so dang much. I know my wife would agree with that. But anyway, long story straight, that's what I've got going on as far as things to keep organized. Some of these things you could absolutely do if you just build at a coffee table or something, or a kitchen table. Between your totes and your parts cases, you could very easily keep everything together. You could get one of these little caddies here for a couple bucks, put all your tools and stuff in it. You could set that down nice and neat in a tote with your paints and just move that tote out of the way if you needed to. These small parts containers are awesome for 3D parts. You'll start to accumulate them once you see how many cool things are out there and how affordable they are. Next thing you know, you will be buying all kinds of stuff because bang for buck, it doesn't mean 20 bucks will buy an awful lot of small parts, pieces, brackets, carburetors, distributors. It doesn't take long, but you will start to accumulate a ton of parts. And so those are super handy for that. So, and like I said, I built this room double what I had before, with the intention of having to grow, but also wanting lots of open space because I need room. I'm a big dude. I need room to get around. So those are my tricks to getting organized and yet still having room to grow. Hopefully those will come in handy next time you're at the dollar store. Keep an open mind as to what's out there, or the craft store, or the next time you're at Tractor Supply, or wherever, what kind of fleet and farm place you have. keep your eyes open, keep an open mind. There are so many neat options out there, you just don't realize it till you look at them. So anyway, Jason, I hope that answers your question. That's what I've got going on in here. Hopefully you guys found this useful and can use some of these ideas that I've got. Yeah. So, and like I said, when you're building a space, shelving, shelving, and lots more shelving. So with that, I'm going to get out of your hair here. I've already rambled for about 15 minutes. I hope this is useful. And Jason, thank you for posting the question, because it is a great question and definitely something we should all be thinking about when we're setting up our hobby space. So until the next one, guys, thanks for stopping by. God bless you. Have fun on the bench. And I'll catch you on the next one. And guess what's not working?